Hello babies, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to this channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and join the family. This is the first faith video that I'm putting out. I really wanted to make a video. I've been meaning to do a video like this for a long time, but I've been scared. I've been a bit nervous to be vulnerable and to open up, and on YouTube and everything I'm someone who finds it hard to open up. But this channel, and most importantly, I wanted it to be a place where I help people and I'm able to use the things that I've learned and I've been through to get other people through their situation too. The best way that I know to do that is Jesus. The reason why I was able to even have the courage to start YouTube in the first place was because of the confidence that God has put in me. Years before I gave my life to Christ, there's no way I would have even been able to sing in front of a camera, let alone post it on social media, on YouTube. If it's all over the place, guys, forgive me. I'm very new to like this whole part of YouTube. Basically a testimony video of my life before Christ and how I am now, and it's just to help anyone who's thinking of giving their life to Christ. I just know that there's more to this life. If you are that person who just wants to know who you were destined to be, to know your identity, to know who God created you to be, subscribe and we can just build this relationship together, you know, and knowing who we are in Christ and living out our full potential. So getting into the story of how God saved my life, I grew up in a Christian home. My mum and my dad are pastors. They own churches here in Nigeria. I always would go to church as a child all the time. Church was my second home. Like, it was my house, then church. Like, that's all I knew as a child. But I never had a relationship with God, because for me, God was my mum and dad's God. It wasn't my God. It wasn't my Abba. It wasn't my father. I would just go to church for fun. And I grew up my whole entire childhood like very confused about who I was, very discontent, very lost, very unhappy. I had like an identity crisis. Like, I just didn't know who I was. I would try and be other people, like the girls in my class. I would look at them, any hairstyle they did, I would do it. The way they walked, I'll try and walk like they walk. I'll try and talk like they talk. I'll try and act like they act. I just didn't know who I was because I was so confused on like the skin that I was in. So I was thinking, okay, let me try and be other people to like have some meaning to my life. I was born in Nigeria, but I moved to London when I was 3 years old. We went through a lot of spiritual warfare, like as a family. We would always have like attacks. I was always very familiar with like evil forces, like in life, like supernatural things like witches, magic, marine spirits, all these kind of things. I was very familiar with them growing up because like that's all we would preach about in church, like evil, God kill, like the evil spirits, like all of this. So it was I was very familiar that evil is real and evil exists. So growing up, we would always have like prayer night against evil forces in the world and all of this stuff. The spiritual warfare stories are gonna come. I'm gonna make a video with my mom and my brothers about all the things that we experience as a family spiritually, from ghosts to witches to the time that my mum raised a woman from the dead to life, time when I was a baby and I pooed out a stone. Yeah, maid in Nigeria was a rat. She was a witch, and that was a spiritual attack as well. It wasn't a normal stone, it was a spiritual stone. So everybody's like, you guys, I know, it's crazy, life is mad. There's so many times when I got pulled off my bed, like, bro, wait for the stories, okay? Just wait, because these evil people don't play, okay? And I need the world, everybody needs to know that these forces are real and we must fight against them. If I was to talk about all of those things in this video, I'm not going to cover what I want to talk about in this video, and we'll be here all day and nobody has time for that. There is evil. Like, a lot of people would like to believe that, oh yeah, like God is real, yeah, but like no such thing as witches, like there's no such thing as like ghosts and like demons. My friend, it's very real and I've seen it with my 2 eyes. I'll tell you guys more about that in that video, but back to how God saved my life. Once my family moved from Nigeria to London, we grew a close bond with one family from our church, and My mum and my dad would always travel back and forth to Nigeria for our church in Nigeria, and come back for our church here. Bring my mum and dad just always traveling and just like being with my brothers and just enjoying life and just being a kid. We got really close to this family, and then I remember there was a time I was 6 years old, and my mum and my dad went away to Nigeria. Usually it would either be my dad travels, or like my mum would travel, but my mum would never like go for more than like 2 weeks, because my mum is the best human being in the entire world, and she couldn't even leave her kids for more than 2 minutes. So she would literally travel for like a week and a half and come back. This time she went with my dad, and they went for about, it was like, okay, cool, mum and dad are traveling together. Obviously I'm gonna miss them. I'm 6 years old. My mum is my best friend
to this day.
Till this day. But I was just like, okay, this is a sacrifice that we just have to make. Like, our parents are going to be gone a lot. It's their job. We just have to make do and try and have fun. So me and my brothers would just try and have fun with each other. We go to school, we'd like play wrestling. WWE was my life growing up, and we would just like live life. 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks. 4 weeks turned into a month. And I was just like, when is my mum coming back? Like, a month turned into 6 months. 6 months turned into a year.
Jesus is Lord.
And I had gone like a whole year without my mum. And I remember when they traveled, the family that we met in church, I had to stay with them. I was just so confused as like, why my parents, because obviously I'm a child, I'm 6. I'm thinking like, my mum and my dad, like, why are you guys taking so long? Like, I thought they were never gonna come back. I thought I was never gonna see my mum again. And plus, on top of this, I was away from my brothers. And then to make matters worse, in this home as well, I wasn't taken care of. I was abused, neglected, quite badly. I would go days without eating food. I would go days and days and days without talking to anyone. My mum would call, and like, every time she would call, I would never want to talk to her, because the minute I hear her voice, I'm crying. The only time that I had joy was when I was going to church on Sunday, because I saw the other kids, I saw my brothers, and school. I loved school. School was fun. I could get away from that house and I could just be free. This isn't a pity party, by the way, guys. The only reason I'm talking about this is just to explain how my depression started as a child. I'm so grateful, because I know a lot of people go through worse, and people have been through this like their whole entire life. So I thank God that I didn't have to deal with this for more than a year. I just became very insecure, felt very unloved, felt very trapped in my skin. Like, I didn't want to be me. I wanted to be somebody else. I remember the day that my parents came back from Nigeria. Oh, that was the best. To this day, I still say that was the best day of my life, because I really don't know where I would be if they hadn't have come back. Thanksgiving was going on. They walked through the door and surprised the whole church, and I remember literally just bawling my eyes out, and my brothers were crying. Everyone was crying. I remember my mum picking me up, and oh, that day was just literally, I could like I kept everything that I'd been through to myself. I didn't want to open up about it, just because I just didn't want to relive it. It's finally back together. Let's just move on. Like, that happened. I don't want to. Let's just move on. And that was something that I dealt with like 6-7 years old. So when they came back, things finally got back to normal. The family ended up leaving us. It finally was home with my brothers, and life was finally looking good again. Like, we were having fun, playing wrestling, doing the most. And as much as my external circumstances got better, my internal was still very much messed up. Fast forward into secondary school. I started secondary school, and middle school for Americans are watching. And just on top of all of this now, and like just being told that, and just being so excited for it, and finally leaving and being a big girl and everything. And I remember just going to secondary school and just like getting smacked in the face with a tack. Like, you're too dark, you're too blick, you're too this, you're too that, you're an African, like just a lot of colorism and racist jokes I had to deal with in secondary school. So insecurity and low self-esteem, and I just thought that like there was just nothing good that could come out of me, and I developed really bad anxiety as well when I'm around people, social anxiety. But the crazy thing is I really knew how to cover it up. Like I really knew how to act like everything was okay, and people around me never knew that this is what I dealt with until I finally opened up. So brothers came back from America. So during the time of secondary school, they had gone to uni. When I was in secondary school, they had gone to uni, my two older brothers. And while they were in America, they gave their life to Christ officially. They had an encounter with God, and they came back a different person. My older brother, the eldest one, and so he came back and would just start talking to us about God and all this stuff. And for me, it was very weird because before he gave his life to Christ, whenever he would come back from America, he would come back with like new dance moves that they're doing in the club, new songs, like girls, like he would always come back with like new stories, crazy stories, like wild stories, you know. We would just, me and my other brother would just sit there and just like listen to how lit America is, you know what I mean? But this time he came back like always talking about God, like wanting to lead family prayer and all this stuff, and we were just like, you're weird, man. My other brother, when he went there too, he found Christ as well. So when they both came back, they decided to do a lock-in in my church with all the youths, and we did a lock-in. Bearing in mind, around this time, the youths were like none of us had a relationship with God. None of us even really cared about coming to church. We just came to church to be with our friends, and like most of the other youths didn't even like each other. So for us to be locked in a church for like the weekend was like hell. But anyway, we did it because we're like, why not? We've never done this before. This is cool. Let's just try something new. In the stocking, they showed us so many videos about like the existence of God and who is Jesus and all this stuff, and they were just explaining. We had like a Q&A session where all of us had so much questions about God, and we would just ask them and they would just like answer it, and things just started to make sense. This is why we're in church. For a long time we didn't even know who God was. Like, why are we here? And nobody would want to answer our questions. So for them to like come back and have so many answers for us, we were finally like, okay. We had a if you really knew me kind of panel, and what this is when a bunch of people in the youth group will say, if you really knew me, you would know. And like you would say something that people don't know about you, or something that you deal with. So some people like, if you really knew me, you'd know that I'm really insecure. If you really knew me, you would know that I have really bad anxiety. If you really knew me, you would know that I have abandonment issues. If you really knew me, you know that I use guys to like fulfill this void in me, you know, that I've had since I was a child. So it became really deep. Like all of a sudden we were playing games, doing all this stuff, learning about God, reading about, and then all of a sudden it was just like really deep. I was like, people know me as like fun gold, like bubbly gold, like loud gold, like they don't know this vulnerable sad side. And I was 15, by the way, at this point, so a lot of things I dealt with was before the age of 15. So I was like, no, I don't think I can do this. So everybody's talking, but I'm just thinking like, it doesn't make sense if everyone's opening up and being vulnerable and being real and authentic, and I'm just here like not wanting to do it. So I said it, and I spoke about everything that I've just told you guys, and spoke about how like I would walk on the street and just feel like everyone's staring at me, and just feel like people are judging me, and I just had such a deep internal battle, like a war in my head of just like evil thoughts and negative thoughts and things that would just keep me bound and crippled and unhappy for time. And I would just go through depressive phases when I want to get out of bed, and I just started to just spill it out, and I was just crying, and my brothers were crying because this was the first time they ever knew that I dealt with this stuff. I just felt free. Like I felt like I didn't have to deal with this by myself anymore. Like I had people who knew what I was going through and could pray for me. Many people watching right now who find it hard to talk to people, to even open up about the smallest thing that they've gone through, opened up. And once I was able to talk to someone about what I was dealing with, my life changed. I promise you, my life literally changed. If these like barriers are just breaking and just falling in, like you're just more free. Like the weight of the world was on my shoulders, like everyone was against me, and now finally being able to open up and see that people genuinely care, I knew that I wasn't alone. Most importantly, I wasn't the only one going through this. A lot of them had similar stories to me. A lot of them had similar situations to me. And to just know that we can all relate to each other and help each other was just so amazing. This is still the year of 2015, best year of my life so far. My family went on a vacation with my in-laws. This time too, we would have devotionals and worship and like talk about God, and continue to gain more and more knowledge. Like after the lock-in, more and more knowledge, I'm hearing about God, I'm finally reading my Bible, I'm finally having my answers, questions being answered. So I was just like growing in this new knowledge. I remember we were going home, it was the last day of the vacation, and we were all saying nice things about someone. So we'd do a hot seat and every member of the family would sit in the middle one by one, and everybody else would say something they love about them. And I remember it got to my turn, and it was my brother's turn to speak, and everybody was saying the nicest, sweetest things I've ever heard in my entire life. Like my whole 15 years of existence, I'd always felt love from my mum, always. But I don't know, I feel like when you expect it from your mum, but hearing it from everyone else was just really, 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 really mad for me. Because I, for so long, felt like I was useless, ugly, unwanted. It was just piercing in my heart. It was just like, maybe all these things I thought about myself were all lies. Just in my mind, you know when your mind just plays with you? In my mind, I just never knew that I was this special to them. And I remember just, it broke me the day that I was 9 years old and I wanted to commit suicide. Remembering that if I had done this, what would this have done to my family? Like, if I had done that, all what they're saying to me right now, what would I have done? And I just thank God that I didn't go through with it, because the main reason why I didn't go through with it anyway is because, you know, I knew it would crush them, but I didn't know the extent of it, because in my mind I just didn't matter. But that day really showed me that, like, whatever anyone tells you, this world is messed up. People are gonna project their fears onto you and tell you lies about who you are to make you feel bad, and none of it is true. Just remember the people that genuinely matter, your family, like people who would die if you died, like. And I just remember feeling so valuable. For the first time in my life, I felt loved. We got home from that trip, I was very uneasy, like in my spirit. I was just very like it felt like a pull, like God was pulling me closer. And I remember I got home and I prayed. I said, if you are real, if you've created me for a reason and I'm here for a reason, God, I need you to show yourself to me. I need you to reveal yourself to me. I need to know who you are. I don't just want to live this fake Christian life of where I've been raised a pastor's daughter, but that's why I'm like, I believe in you. No, I want to know you. I want to have that personal encounter with you. I want to love you. I want to have that relationship with you. For the first time, I started to speak in tongues, and I started to shake, and I started to cry, and I started to laugh, and it was just so much going on in like literally within like 10 minutes. I was just doing all those things at once. Like, I had never experienced that before, and I knew that it was God, because I just prayed this prayer and all of a sudden I just felt this immense peace. And I remember I just felt God telling me like, I love you so much. The reason I created you, and all the things that you believed of yourself are nothing but lies. I felt peace literally just go into me. And that night I slept like a baby. Woke up the next morning so different. Like, I woke up looking at myself and being like, you're alright. Who I was. I finally knew Jesus. I finally knew Christ. And I started reading the book Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, and that book changed my life. It changed my life completely, and that was the first book that I've ever genuinely sat down and read. Just been great since. I'm not gonna say it's been completely great, because obviously I came out to Christ when I was 15. I'm 19 now, so it's 4 years. In those 4 years, there have been definite lows. There have been very, very, very high highs, but it has still been life. You know, I'm still on this earth. as much as you give your life to Christ, you're still gonna have to go through things and deal with things. But I can just say that amongst all the things that I've been through, I've never lost the peace that Jesus gave me when I first met him. I've never lost the joy. I know who I am now, which is something that I can never say I knew before. This video is literally just to encourage you guys, to encourage you if you're going through, because I mean, it's very hard when you're dealing with mental health and things internally, because I mean, when your external circumstances are bad, everyone else can see it and understand it, you know, so they understand why you're sad. But when it seems like everything is okay, but you're still having such a hard time in your mind, in here, no one can see your mind, no one can see inside you, so it's really hard for them to understand or for you to even explain it. And I get it, but I'm telling you now, God made you, he created you, he loves you, he's put such glory, destiny, and just such a huge amount of grace upon your life that nothing the enemy says, no negative thought, is true, and nothing will ever stop him from manifesting what he's planned for you in your life. When he looks at you, he smiles. And for me to just know that the God of the universe, like the God who created the stars in the sky, this moon, the sun, the trees, the mountains, the whole of nature, the God who created human beings, the human beings that I used to care so much and I had such a fear of man, the God who created them, he loves me. Like, that should be enough. The only thing that's enough is Jesus. No amount of drugs, alcohol, boys, sex, love, affection, money, cars, material, designer, no friends, status, nothing is going to be able to satisfy you. I'm telling you. You'll keep wanting more. You'll keep praying for more. The only thing that can is Jesus. And I know this because I've experienced it. And I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for God. He saved me from myself. He saved me from my mind. He saved me from suicide. He saved me from self-harm. He saved me from so much things that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God's grace. And now I hear him and I talk to him and I love him and he loves me and we have that relationship, and I know who created me. If you know that you are missing something or you want something, to fill that void or to fill that emptiness in you, come to Jesus, man. It's cliche, but he's the only one. And it's not hard. I know a lot of people are like, I need to give up all this stuff before I can get right with God. Why would you want to do God's job? All you need to do is surrender and pray and ask him to do it and watch God start to move. So I hope you guys enjoyed the testimony video, but the supernatural stories are coming very soon. Those are the ones where you will really see the things that I've really encountered and been through. I hope this has helped you in some way, shape or form, and to just encourage you and to let you know that no matter what you're going through, no matter how messed up you think you are, how much you think you've done, trust me, accept God. You're never too dirty, you're never too messy. Jesus died for a reason, you know? God died for a reason. You're never too messed up for him. Let him fix you, let him do his job, and just begin that beautiful relationship. You already have one with him anyway because he created you, but just begin to live out that relationship and see how your life will change. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Continue to like, comment and subscribe. I'm hoping to do more videos of like how to get closer to God. I want to talk about soul ties and relationship and my experiences, things to encourage you. You know, this life is crazy and we all need to help each other. Comment any other thing that you guys want me to talk about and just stay blessed. I love you guys so much. God is good. Jesus is good. I hope this video did something. I don't know. But yeah, bye.